This interview is being conducted for the Veterans History Project for the Library of Congress. The veteran's name is J.M. Slaton. He was born May 4th, 1925. He served in the Pacific during World War II. He achieved the rank of Corporal. We are recording this on June 6, 2015. I'm Will Hines and conducting this interview. No relation. So, Mr. Slaton, can you just kind of talk about growing up? Where did you say you grew up, in Oakway, or?
I was born in Oakway.
Okay.
And we were, like I say, we were farmers, and I guess the other side of the hill is a little greener or something because we moved.
Mm-hmm.
We moved and get to a new farm.
What did you farm?
Cotton.
Really?
Cotton was king back then. Cotton was king. Of course, we had to grow everything we eat. You know,
mm-hmm.
beans and you know, tomatoes and taters and stuff. But you know, we were just farmers. It was pretty dull. It was a lot of hard work.
Did you go to school around here?
I went to Oakdale Grammar School. I went to Townville High School, and then after I got discharged, my rich Uncle Sam paid for me to go to Forest College.
On the GI Bill.
On the GI Bill.
And
it was a 2-year, it's a junior college
mm-hmm.
now here in Anderson.
Okay, so you were kind of raised during the Depression.
Yes,
so,
right after the Depression.
So was that, you know, any different for you? I mean, I know you kind of grew what you ate, so it might not have influenced you in a way that it influenced others, or?
I didn't realize it, you know, at the time, how poor, you know, everybody was, because everybody, with the exception maybe of just 3 or 4 of the rich guys, everybody was in the same shape. And I can remember when I was a kid, homeless people walk up and down the road, steal anything that, you know, that was edible, and it was pitiful. But I didn't realize, you know, when I was a kid growing up,
mm-hmm.
you know, in the early 30s, they're still, you know, recovering from the Depression.
Mm-hmm.
It was pitiful.
So you are 18 years old, and it's 1943, 44?
44.
And you decide to enlist. What made you enlist?
The pretty blue uniform was one of them. But like I said, this guy that I went to school with, he had dropped out of school a year or 2 before and joined the Marine Corps, and he and I both used to read an article. The sports editor of the Anderson paper was an old Marine, and he breathed Marine stuff, you know, and he'd sign off with some kind of Marine thing, and you know, it was from the time I was 15 or 16, I was a Marine. So
that gave you the desire to be a Marine.
Yeah. Then, you know, they were tough,
mm-hmm.
and get a, you know, after we got over there, we could knock over a latrine, you know, and get headlines of 50% of the newspaper. But it just a combination of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I was an old farmer. I was tough as leather. And
could you shoot? Did you grow up shooting? And
I was probably 7 years old when I killed my first squirrel. Probably 7 years old.
Wow.
And my father died when I was about 3 years old.
Mm-hmm.
My mother, there was 9 of us, and my mother had to, I guess you could say, be the paterfamilias of a bunch of, and there was 7 boys and 2 girls. And
so that's why you grew up farming, because your father wasn't there, though.
He was a farmer before he died, and then you know, that's all we knew.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
wow.
But I remember my mother, and the reason she named me Joyce, she had this thing for Kilmer. You know, that guy wrote the Trees poem.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes, I do. Yes, I do.
You know, things were made by fools like me, but only God can make a tree. You know, mm-hmm. She had this thing for Kilmer, so she named me Joyce, and that was a mistake. I mentioned it to her a few times later on, but.
So, So you're 18, and you decide to enlist. Now, where did you go to enlist?
Anderson.
So you,
that's where you filled out the papers, and then we went to Paris Island.
So you took a car to Anderson, or?
Yes. And yeah.
Okay, and so you signed up for the Marines, and are you given a few days before you are sent to Paris Island, or did you go immediately?
I think we went right then.
Wow.
I think we got on a bus that left Anderson and went to Paris Island right then. I believe. Some things I can remember.
Mm-hmm.
Some I can't.
So, you train at Paris Island for a while.
Yes.
And is that where you went through basic and a lot of your core training?
That's basic training. Boot camp, we call it.
And was that easy for you since you were a farm boy? And
it was easier for me than it was from some of the mama's boys from Connecticut and Pennsylvania and and Massachusetts and what. And most of the platoon that I was in were from New York and Connecticut, and they had it all over us in speech and knowledge, and it didn't take me 20 minutes to learn that their school systems were much better than ours. But when we get on the rifle range and get started to doing something physical, I had it all over them.
Wow. So, training at Paris Island, and then kind of where are you sent after that?
Camp Lejeune.
Camp Lejeune, and that's in North Carolina, right?
Yeah.
And is that where you did more of your
advanced training? That's where we learned to shoot azimuths and read the compass and survive. One evening late, right after supper chow, they come and got us, and they had canvas covers over the trucks, and they put us in these trucks, and I don't know, I didn't have any kind of meter, but they said they carried us 50 miles, and we were studying the compass then, and they put us out of the truck and said, come back to the base. And we had our compass, and we were supposed to be able to set an azimuth and come back to our base. And there were a few incentives. The first being the first 4 squads that got back got a 72-hour pass for the next weekend. And Lejeune is not too far from Greenville, North Carolina. And I don't know what kind of history buff you are, but back in 1944, Greenville, North Carolina was the home of East Carolina University, which was a girls' school. Oh,
it was a girls' school back then.
So
that's why you wanted the 72-day pass.
So that's and I got my squad back. I don't think I know I wasn't first, but I think it's third. But we got back the next morning a little after 10, 50 miles.
Oh my gosh. Now, did you guys train with, M1s, or did you train with the old Springfields, or?
They had just switched over when I got to Paris Island. When I got to Paris Island, they was using the 03, but I got the M1.
Okay.
I got the M1, and a lot of people says it's a piece of crap, but
they said the M1's a piece of crap?
Yep, a lot of people did. A lot of people did. I thought it was a good weapon.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good weapon.
I own a carbine. I don't own an M1.
That's a piece of crap.
Really?
That is a piece of crap. It's a piece of crap.
What did you carry? Did you carry the M1? Or
M1 and a 45.
And a 45.
But this might be off of the interview line or whatever. But one night we was on the front lines, and my bar man, a guy named Kinsey. He was from Harlan County, Kentucky, and he, in a kind of way, had been involved in the Martin and McCoy feud. The big feud back then. The guy, he's from, let's see, the Martins is from West Virginia, and the McCoys is right across the river or right across the line or whatever in Kentucky. But anyway, Kinsey was my bar man, and he and I were in a foxhole one night,
Barman as in he carried a bar, B-A-R.
Right.
Okay.
And it's, you know, they got flares, you know, intermittently. They come along and to light up the area and whatnot, but I don't know, the Japanese do some strange stuff. And they had sent 2 guys back through our lines.
The Japanese had?
Yeah. And, you know, we sitting there down in our foxhole, and I don't know, you just feel these things, you know, and I peeked around by the time a flare in the distance came up, and I could see 2 silhouettes, I mean 2 guys, and Kenzie, well, I said if we sitting there, I was sitting there, and Kenzie was asleep, because we alternated, you know, on the front lines, and one guy stayed on the lights, and one guy catnapped, and but anyway, them guys got closer, and they kept getting closer, and I said, man, they're going to come right about here. In the world is somebody out walking in, you know, at night, because that's a no-no to us.
Right.
And they just kept coming. And, you know, I said that, yeah, the reason I'm telling you this is I had a carbine. I don't know why I got it, or where I got it, but I had a carbine. I had my 45, you know, turned around to where I could get it good. Had 2 grenades laying right here, and you know, I was ready. I was ready for whatever. You know, since we was on the front line. But anyway, those guys kept coming close to us, and I said, I want to, well, should I waken Kenzie? But I said, there's just 2 of them. I can take care of 2 of them. You know, thinking I'm still the toughest guy. Well, I knew I was the toughest guy because they told me I was. But at the last instant, something told me that I better awaken Kenzie. And I'm laying there, and Kenzie's laying kind of sprawled out right beside me. He took me above, bumped him like that. And he come awake like he's in a sawmill, for heaven's sake. But he come awake, and but when he did and made that racket, they pulled out 2 big old samurai swords that then got at us then. And I turned this carbine around, just hold it like this, just, you know, and it jammed. Wouldn't shoot. I'm trying to get my 45 out, knowing it's going to be too late when Kenzie's bar started barking. And he just pulled the trigger and went around like that and shot him 30 times. And they tumbled in the hole on top of us. But that's the reason I say the carbine's a piece of crap, and as far as I know, that carbine is still laying there on the side of that foxhole. I never touched another carbine in my life.
Oh my gosh.
So,
holy cow.
I brought that saber home, and I kept it for a long time, but my son and 2 of his friends, I don't know whatever happened to it. Man, it would be worth a whole lot of money, they tell me now, but it's gone.
I'd try to buy it from you now. So you we'll try to go back to the training thing. So, although that was a great story. So you're training, you're in Camp Lejeune, and then where do you go from there?
Okay, after we got through there, and they did it pretty quick because you know, things was really going in the South Pacific at that time. So we left Camp Lejeune and went to Camp Pendleton in San Diego, and they've got further advanced training, and they've got all kind of obstacle courses, and so it's a real good base. So we went out there for a few weeks, a couple, 3 weeks for further advanced training, and then we went overseas. And we went to, they were at Saipan, and the 4th Marine Division was, but I never did get in, I never did get involved in there, and then we came back to Maui, one of the Hawaii Islands. That's where the 4th trained. And then we started training and marching through them hills and boondocks, and then a few months later we went to Iwo Jima. And yeah, in a way, it's kind of this is kind of dull.
Mm-hmm. Well, so
But
you're on that transport ship, heading to Iwo Jima or kind of outside Iwo Jima, and what are you thinking? Do you know where you're going?
nope, nobody. Well, probably the powers that be probably did, but we didn't. They didn't tell us where we were going, and we left Pearl Harbor. We left. We got on the ship. We went from Pearl Harbor, Maui, Wailuki, Maui, to Pearl Harbor, and then gathered up, some from the 5th Division and some from the 3rd, was it? There was 3 divisions, but I don't forget, 2nd, I believe. 2nd, 4th, and 5th Marines took Iwo Jima. And, got in this great big armada. And we left Pearl Harbor, I think it was New Year's Day. And, with the U-boats and this and that, we had to zigzag across. But we got to Iwo Jima the 19th, I believe, of February. And we stayed aboard ship from 1st New Year's Day till the 19th.
For a month and a half.
Month and a half.
That sounds awful.
But to get to Iwo Jima, we didn't know where we were going. And and there we were standing there on the ship one morning, and I believe it.
Sir?
I believe it was late one night. I've forgotten how long time it was. And we saw this little pork chop looking place, and so they called everybody together, and then they told us where we was, what we was supposed to do and stuff. And I remember we looked at that little thing. It didn't look very big, and it wasn't very big. We, like Tarzan, we'd take care of that little place in 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't.
So, so you're confident, you're not, fearful or nervous, you're probably jittery or...
Yeah, you just didn't know what was going to happen, and on one side you was chomping at the bit, wanting to see what it was.
So are they just pounding the island with artillery from the ships?
Yep, the Navy had been pounding that thing for, I don't know, a full day, I think.
Mm-hmm. And are Corsairs flying overhead, dropping bombs on there?
Corsairs and strafing too, and the P-38 had just come out. We had some P-38s there, those twin tails. And there was some of them there, and God, they were fast. And I think they scared the Japanese some too. And of course, there's 3 airports there, and that's what we were doing there to start with, is to take those 3 airports.
So you could bomb Japan.
We were bombing Japan, and they was running out of fuel before they got back to Guam or Saipan. And so there was 3 airports there, and that's what we were doing there in the first place. So, but then they had some, to start with, they had a few Zeros there. And God, that was a good plane.
Really?
Mm-hmm. It was better than anything we had, I believe, as far as maneuverability and, and the Japanese could fly them things too.
Did you ever see any kamikaze attacks?
Yes, I did.
Wow. Was that while you were on the ship or while you were on Iwo?
I've seen them both. I saw one come at a ship, but we could see out there, but he missed it. I don't know, he must have been drunk or something, because, if you aim yourself at a ship, you have to hit it. But he missed it.
Wow.
But I saw it. And what the other, I guess you could call them kamikaze, but they weren't airplanes. They had just been told this stuff about, surrendering and stuff. And our grenades, you pull a pin, count to 10, and flip that little handle, and they go off. Their grenades is
don't they
some
hit
kind
on their head or something?
Detonator. Hit on the rock or the helmet or whatever, and then that does it in 8 or 10 seconds. So I saw 2. Watched the whole thing. And he went up and sat down and took this grenade and held it up under him and blowed his head off. I saw 2.
And they wouldn't surrender. They
wouldn't surrender. Rather go that way.
And were you trying to make them surrender, but they wouldn't even listen? I mean, they
were far, you know, it was 200 yards away. But you could see them good.
Yeah.
It wasn't at the same time, it was a different time.
So you're on the transport ship, you're about to go down in it. What landing craft were you on? Do you remember, a Higgins boat or a
Higgins boat?
Higgins boat. And so you're climbing down the rope nets, and that's the water's bouncing in.
Water's bouncy.
It's probably pretty tough. I've heard that's actually kind of a scarier thing than most people realize.
It is. It's real scary. And in fact, one guy right close to me slipped and fell, and I don't know what happened. Something happened to his ankle. He sprained his ankle or broke his ankle or whatever. But they got some kind of a gurney type thing and
lifted
took him back up aboard ship.
Yeah.
And,
so how many people were in your Higgins boat? It wasn't about 40 or
30, yeah, 40, 30 something.
38, 35.
30 something.
Yeah. And were you first wave, second wave?
Oh, I don't know about that, but it was toward the front. Yeah, there was some there, because when we got to the beach, you know, there was an old Japanese ship, some kind of ship right there, right beside of where we landed. Blue Beach 2, I believe it was. It was wrecked, I remember that. And there was a couple of Higgins boats that had been hit or whatever. And I have no idea how many, you know, but there's bodies there were.
Yeah. But the Japanese kind of went away from the strategy of hitting you when you land on the beach, correct?
You know, they did, and we never did understand that. But when I got out of the Higgins boat, and I didn't have to do like a lot of them, wade, he took that Higgins boat all the way to the beach.
Oh, so you didn't even have to get wet.
Didn't even get my boots wet. And, you know, everything was just quiet. We ran off of that Higgins boat. Quick as we got 15 or 20 feet in, I don't know, that might have been taking a cigarette break, or I don't know what it was, because it's just a straight line right up, you know, right down from Suribachi. Suribachi's on the end. And, you know, that's where they were, in the edge of the Suribachi, and on the edge of that airfield dug in. Right after we got on there, man, all hell broke loose.
They just hit you with artillery and
anything that they could throw at us. Slingshots and spitballs, everything they could throw. It came. It was terrible, and we found out just a minute, you know, it wasn't going to be real easy.
Now, I'm sure the sand was kind of surprising to see that black ash.
It was. It's kind of strange sand, but...
would you just kind of sink in it, or what was the texture of it?
Oh, yeah. It was real soft. You'd sink in it. And that's another thing, it made it so bad our tanks couldn't maneuver. The tanks would come in there, and God, you know how heavy they are. They just sink down and then just be in a stupid way for something else. It was just pitiful.
So, did they have a lot of concrete structures, pillboxes that you guys had to take out?
Yes, they did. And they had caves under the ground here. They had these things underneath, and they could just spring a little door and stick her head up and shoot like this and close the door, and you didn't even know that cavern was there.
That's, you know, that's nerve-wracking.
It sure is. You walk right over it, and you know, not even know it's there. You walk right over it. Then you get up here 50 feet, and then all of a sudden you get. And that brings up another story. Can I tell you another?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll have to go get the evidence.
That's quite all right.
He's a man.
I couldn't get.
Wow.
That is a Japanese rifle, and I know for a fact that the last 3 times that thing was shot, it was shot at me.
Oh my gosh.
And But that's one of them things I was talking about. We walked right by these that was on the cave, and yeah, I never will forget it. Captain Eddie said, "Slaton, take your bunch and go around this rock." We were moving out, crawling and snooping and pooping. And he said, "Take your squad." And so I did. And, you know, I'm doing this. And I might as well, you know, when I'm doing this and pointing and this and that, you know, don't take a rocket science to know who's the boss when he's pointing and telling everybody what to do, you know. So by that time I heard a shot fired from behind me, and then when that shot was fired, the whole left side of my hind side went numb, and I said, "Oh no!" The first thing I did though was hit the ground,
right
behind a little rock this big, yeah. And just when I hit the ground, another slug hit that rock, and
my gosh.
I just see all these people walking up and down the road looking for that little girl. And so I peeped, you know, around, you know, the rock, and another shot. But when he shot that time, I picked him up. I could see him, and you know, he was standing beside a little rock outcropping, and it led down into the cavern. You know, they threw, I think there was 4 of them had stepped out of there, and was that one was all the way out, standing up.
Yeah.
And so I blowed him away because he was trying to get this. Our M1 is semi-automatic.
Right, you just pop in a
around the hip and shoot it 8 times. This, you gotta feed that guy each time you shoot, and that 2 seconds cost him his life. And of course, that's a good rifle. You can throw that thing out there in the front yard and let it lay in the rain and run out for 30 days, put a shell in it and shoot.
Wow.
Carbine wouldn't.
Now,
you could spit on a carbine and it wouldn't shoot.
Is it burned up here from a flamethrower?
Yes, sir. How'd you know that?
I
was going to tell you, when he fell, you know, he just fell there, and like I say, there's 3 more, and you know, instead of us crawling, snooping, and pooping, and going back, we had a radio, and they called for a flamethrower, hoping we could get a tank, a big one. Right. But we didn't. We got a guy, you know, that had one on his back, and he came in. You know, snooped and pooped, and we covered for him. And when he got up there, he found this opening. He opened it, but he fed the flames to it before he got there. He was you know, these flames was going, and he'd move forward. And the flames was going, and then when he got there, he opened the door and flamed. But he burned that rifle.
Yeah.
I mean,
that is a wild story.
Yeah, it's wild, but it's true. It's absolutely true.
So, wow. I mean, I bet that's a weird feeling, knowing that, you know, that guy is shooting at you. You're hiding behind a rock, and you hear a slug hit the rock in front of you. I mean, that is.
But the thing I felt this warm stuff running down my leg. It was my canteen. He had shot between my canteen and my behind, and didn't draw a drop of blood, but he creased that canteen enough to where it would just leak, you know, like, and that water was real warm, you know, and that warm water was dripping down my leg, and I thought I'd shot, and I said, "Oh Lord!"
So he hit your canteen? Hit
the edge of my canteen, and you know, I'm thinking, God Almighty, JM, you're gonna tell your grandkids you got shot in the ass, you know? That's terrible, but.
Yep. So, first day at Iwo, you start fighting across, or trying to move across the island. And towards Suribachi, toward the airfield, were they kind of in the same area?
Same area. The Moriyama number 1, that's the first airfield,
Mm-hmm.
was close to Suribachi. It was, well, I said close, you know, probably 100 yards, 150 yards. I don't know, I didn't measure it, but it was pretty close. The airfield kind of slanted, you know, away from Suribachi, and Suribachi's here, and the airfield kind of went down this way. And, yep, that's when they raised, well, somebody got some threads. You know, they raised that flag on Suribachi.
Mm-hmm.
There's a picture there. We was right there on the tip of that airfield. I saw that flag go up, both of them.
Wow. And so that was kind of done, you know, earlier in the battle, though, wasn't it?
That was about the third day, I think, and that's how far we had gone in 3 days, up from the beach, 200-300 yards out on that airfield. That's how far we'd gone in 3 days.
Well, didn't the battle last, you know, longer, a lot longer than that? You know, 20, 30 days?
36.
Yeah.
36. And it was tough. You had to dig them out of them caves.
Now, did you go into caves ever, or were you
never went in a cave?
Or would you just call in the flamethrower once you saw one?
I never. That's the only time I ever called in a flamethrower. I never went in a cave until it was over.
Mm-hmm.
And I went in. I didn't went in one on the edge of Suribachi. They had them in back through Suribachi.
Mm-hmm. And what was inside the cave? You know, the table and, you know, where they slept, and that was it.
You know, I didn't even see that. I didn't see no beds. I didn't see no tables. It just, you know, just there. But, and things just sit on, but it was dirt, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just,
yeah.
But, you know, I went in there because I wasn't no historian. I didn't give a rap.
Mm-hmm.
Tell you what was in there after it was over.
Yeah, I'm sure you just wanted to get off that island.
Mm-hmm.
So was that probably your closest call, getting shot in the canteen, or did you have any other close calls?
Well, when we was in the foxhole that night, was pretty close. And yes, I had. We were. Let's see, what was this? He was a full bird colonel, and I think everybody smoked cigarettes back there. It's just one of the things that everybody did. I bet 99% of the people smoked.
Mm-hmm.
And we were sitting behind. I don't know. We were sitting behind something. Forgot what it was now. We were sitting behind something. But anyway, and I don't know why a full bull colonel would be sitting close to me, but he was sitting there, and I was smoking a cigarette, and he reached over and got my hand, just like this, and pulled that cigarette out to light his rather than get his lighter, you know.
Mm-hmm.
He just took my hand and held my cigarette and lit his from mine. And when he turned my hand loose and it come down like this, I heard 2 shots fire out, and his brains went all over everything. The guy that shot at him didn't miss, and the guy that shot at me just went right between us. I don't know why he missed.
Oh my gosh.
And they were on that old boat that I told you was sunk down there as we went in. They was 2 on it.
And that was one of the first days then, if you were.
That was, I believe that's the first day, late in the afternoon, the first day.
So that was kind of probably your first taste of combat, and that's a horrible experience to start off with. Wow.
It was kind of scary, and some of the guys were funny. They were kind of funny too, you know, in light of what we were doing and you know, and what we were going through. We had one guy from down here in Georgia. He's a good little bitty guy. He wasn't near as big as I am. He's a little guy. I don't know how he got in the Marine Corps. It's wonder hadn't turned him down. I bet he didn't weigh over 110 pounds. But he could dig a foxhole faster than you ever see a cat out when he does his business, you know, covering it. He'd dig a foxhole that way. God, in fact, we call him the mole because he could, you know. And that was his nickname, the Mole. But he was an avowed atheist.
Wow.
And we was on the front line. We was on the front lines one night, and during the night, I remember feeling all of a sudden just boom, and just everything shook. I didn't have any idea what it was. But when it got daylight, the Japanese had fired the biggest shell I ever seen. I bet that thing is 20 inches. We had some 16ers. You could see a 16 when the ship would fire. You could see a 16 going through the air.
Jeez.
And
you could see it.
You could see it. You could see it. But this one, I believe it. Of course, I didn't measure it, but it was huge. And that thing was stuck up, probably far near that jukebox, from our foxhole, kind of between me and the mole. There's one foxhole between me and the mole, but it was.
And it didn't explode?
Didn't explode. It was a dud.
Oh my gosh.
And one of those Weisenheimers from New Jersey. They hollered, and everybody's down in their foxhole. We wasn't walking around like it's going to Sunday school. And one of them guys, I think he's from New Jersey. Mo, are you still an atheist? And that's it. I never will forget Mo looked at that. He looked at that thing. He said, "Hell no." I guess there's amusement or comedy.
I guess you gotta have some of that because it was such an intense time.
But things like that stay with you. I never was Mo, and he wasn't still an atheist. But poor little boy, just ignorant as he could be.
So, can you tell me about that bonsai charge you were in?
Yeah, this was on further up the island, and we were moving out, and we were getting ready, and in fact we set up for the night with the machine guns on each side and the mortars right beside the the little mortar, and everybody dug in, and we were getting ready for the night. Nothing much happened at night. Sometimes they'd fire a few shots just to keep us on the edge. And then Tokyo Rose always come over that radio. Oh, you lonely GIs. Oh, you.
And then was it a loudspeaker? Or?
No, but you could hear it. And reckon what your wife's doing now? Moral crap. But anyway, after it got dark, we began to hear the rumbling, and I forgot now. We changed company commanders along about then. Our company commander he's a good guy, but he wasn't doing something right, and we got in Major. Name's escaping right now, but Major what's his name came in from battalion and took over B company, and I believe it was him. And he'd been on site paying Tinian and Roy Moore, and and he said, I think we better be ready. So sure enough, wasn't too long till the rumbling got, and it was just a half-hearted one. I don't guess there's over 1,000, maybe not that many. But old Captain Coke, he was cool as a cucumber. He told us just like a door swing, if it was indeed a bonsai attack, said just swing, because the Japanese down here, we had, we were moving out, and so just swing this way, and when they go by, just shoot.
Yeah.
Because we wouldn't be shooting at our guy. If you had to open like a double door, then you couldn't shoot halfway. You'd be shooting at each other. So I remember old Captain Coke, Major Coke, swing, and we just swung back. And when they come down through there, we just. I forgot. Some wise guy counted them. I forgot how many bodies there was laying there between, the next morning.
Just. I mean, were they stacked up, or was it, spread out? But there were still a lot of them.
There's a lot of them. And of course, when you get on a little place that's just 5 miles long and 2.5 miles wide, and there's 28,000 Japanese and probably 35,000 Marines, and every one of them got 2 guns, and every one of them is shooting at each other, there's going to be a lot of bodies. There was a lot of bodies.
So was there a flare? Could you see them? Did they fire a flare from the ship?
Yeah, they had flares. We had flares from the ship. Ship put out and anchored out, and big flares from the ship, and then back at headquarters there was flares, and it wasn't like noonday, but it was fairly night.
And how was it? Was it open in front of you where you could see them coming, or was it, where there? I guess there weren't any trees on that island.
Wasn't no tree, wasn't no water.
Oh.
It didn't even have no water. They had to ship the water, and wasn't no wells, wasn't no springs, wasn't no rivers. There was no water.
And so, how far were they away whenever you first saw them? 100 yards or?
Probably. You could hear them, and they was probably 200-300 yards, and we dug in on the front line that I remember coming back, and that was and of course when they was coming, they was a shooting too. They was all shooting.
Were they?
Like shooting and screaming Japanese, all kind of epithets. And I guess that's cussing it. I couldn't speak Japanese. I don't know what they're doing, but.
Jeez.
I know there's one guy got hit close to me, and I carried him a little ways, and he died on my shoulder. And when we swinging back to get up here and get behind something, sure did.
That's horrible. So, are there any other stories or experiences that kind of stand out to you on Iwo?
I ain't got none that come to mind, but it was quite an experience. I'm in a way glad I saw it, but I sure wouldn't give a plug nickel to do it again.
God, that's unbelievable. So the battle ends, and you guys completely take Iwo and clear out the caves, or someone cleared out the caves, I guess.
Well, after we supposedly got it secured and got back on board ship, there's a bunch of them guys that didn't even know what day it was, didn't even know whether they'd surrendered or didn't. There's a bunch of them got out of there and almost took the island again. They left a few people from the army, to police or to take care or whatever, and they had all. Now this is probably scuttlebutt. We just heard this on ship that we had to make a second landing. You know how that scuttlebutt goes. And another story. I got thrown in the brig one time, and we was on this ship. The USS Lexington, which is a big old aircraft carrier. That's what we came back on. And but we just got started. Just left Iwo Jima, and the word was that they had a prison break. No. We were on the way home on the USS Lexington after we when we left Iwo Jima, we came back to Pearl Harbor, and I'd done accumulated enough points to come back home, and so there was this marking time for a lot of us. But anyway, what we did I wound up in an MP company for a few weeks, and actually what I was an examiner to take people out and see if I could drive good enough to get a driver's license. And I did that for 2-3 weeks. I was the examiner. And just like a highway patrolman do now, when you go get your driver's license, take you on a spin. I did that for a few weeks. And but after we got aboard ship to come back home, this is when we got word that they'd had a prison break at Alcatraz, and we was coming right by Alcatraz, coming into Frisco on the way home. And in fact, they must have been pretty serious about it, because they came up to us and said, "Guys, we're going to have to make one more landing." And you know, where's that? I thought the war was over. But that's when he told us that Alcatraz had had a prison break, and then they were holding the warden and hostage and all that. Said, "We're going to have to go in there and quell." And I recall, you know, I had to be one of them. They just went around and picked out you, and you. And you know, I said, you know, I've done my thing. I'm not going and letting some black guy, and I don't think it was a black guy, I'm not going, you know, and let some nigger shoot me after what I've gone through, and I'm on the way home. I'm not going to do it. So when they called me up there to hand me a rifle, I never will forget, I looked that captain in the eye and shook my head. And he had a fit. "Hey, you're shaking your head, boy." I says, "I'm not going in there." "You scared?" And I remember telling him, "Yeah, I'm scared." But I said, "That's not the reason I'm going in there. Not going in there." And he called for the sergeant of the guard to lock us man up. And I wound up in the brig because I disobeyed an order.
Wow. And
but as it turned out, it was scuttlebutt or something, or they didn't need us because we didn't go into Alcatraz.
But you still got thrown in the brig for it.
I stayed in the brig about an hour, and evidently they got a radiogram or whatever they got, you know. And I stayed in the brig for about an hour, and they come and turned. In fact, that same captain that chewed me out was one that come let me go. He shook hands with me and says, "I admire you, Sergeant, for doing well. You stood on your principles." So that made me feel better. But I just slapped, wasn't going to do it. I stayed in the brig the rest of my life, I guess, but I wasn't going to do it.
So you get back, United States, you go home for a little while?
We go home for good. We were through. Cool. We got discharged.
So even though you stayed in until 46, or probably beginning of 46, so were you on EWO for a while after the battle? Where did you go after EWO?
Pearl Harbor. Come back to Pearl Harbor. Come back to Pearl Harbor. Is we call it Tent City. That's where I wound up in this MP company and working with the motor transport. We stayed there for a while until they could get all the paperwork done, and then they sent us home. We left Pearl Harbor on the way home. We didn't go back to Maui.
So as a 20-year-old, you had seen, or 19 or 20, however old you were, you had seen EWO and had already been to the South Pacific, and now you're going home.
Yep.
That probably helped you grow up a little bit faster than most.
Probably so, and it was real sad. You're 10,000 miles from home, and all of this stuff you have seen, and yet if you wanted a cold beer, you could not go into a bar and buy a beer because you wasn't over enough. Now, you tell me if that ain't pathetic.
That is stupid. That's pathetic.
But I couldn't. I couldn't. Of course, I wasn't a beer drinker to start with. But it's just the idea.
Yeah.
And you'd seen all of that, been shot at, and done a little shooting on your own, and yet you couldn't go and drink a beer because you wasn't over enough.
So, do you feel like you changed a lot from before when you left to getting back to the United States? Do you felt like you changed, or did you have nightmares, and did you go through any of that?
Well, yes. It was pretty. Yes. It was pretty rough for a year or two. In in fact, there was two old boys. One of them was a Navy, and one of them was just finished high school. And for a few months, few weeks, I forgot exactly how long it was after I got back home. It's pretty bad.
Mm.
You couldn't sleep. I'd wake up and as I called it, you know, and it's just like saying nigger, but we call them gooks, slope heads, gooks. We call them gooks.
Hmm.
And my gooks would come back at night and bother me. And the one that was always front and center was one that looked like he's about 13 or 14 years old that I shot. And, you know, he was trying to shoot me.
Right.
And, but when my gooks did come back to bother me, he was always front and center. Always. Because, I don't know, I kind of felt funny. I felt, you know, you don't shoot kids.
Yeah.
Even though they said, you know, the natives over there, the word was that, you know, we eat babies for breakfast and glass for lunch, you know. That's how tough we were.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, that's just, but, but me and these two guys, we took off and we went to Florida. I don't know why we wound up at St. Augustine, but we bought a bus ticket and in Anderson, and the bus ticket went to St. Augustine. It's some kind of a promotion deal, and we got off at St. Augustine, and we were beachcombers for a few months. We'd sleep on the beach, and we'd get a job picking fruit, or we worked in an antique shop, taking the stuff and stripping furniture, sanding furniture. We just you know, we just pick up the job and make $10, sleep on the beach, and both of them guys were booze hounds.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't care too much about, you know, but we'd get us a bottle, lay on the beach, and get about half hammered, just lay there and sleep all night.
Mm-hmm.
Get up the next morning and either wander down the beach or get us a job. We did that for, I don't know, about 6 months. And then we had worked our way. We got one job, and I came within an inch of sticking on it because it was pretty good. It was in West Palm Beach, and we got a job with as stevedores, loading the ship, taking it to Havana, bringing a load of cigars and tobacco products back to the States, and then taking boxes of stuff, food stuff mostly, to Cuba.
Wow.
We did that for, you know, I forgot, I think I made about 10 trips.
Wow. So you got to go to Havana a decent amount.
Right.
That's neat.
But that was before Fidel.
Right.
And but I told them with us, you know, I said we could probably do this.
Yeah.
But they wanted to move on, so we moved on and went around the Keys, and we got up right up above St. Pete. And one of them little boys came to me and said, what are you going to do? And I said, well, we probably better get us a job, work a day or two. He said, I'm not talking about today, I'm talking about the rest of, he said, I'm talking about the rest of our life. And I said, well, I don't know about that. He had a paper, and he said, I see here where the government will pay for college. I think I'll go home and go to college. You know, I thought about it for about 30 seconds, and I said, okay, I'll just go with you. So
just kind of out of nowhere. I guess I'll go.
So we just came back home and went to enrolled and went to Forest College, and you know, then she came along, and I took courses that would transfer to Clemson. I was going down there 2 years, and then I was going to finish up at Clemson. Mm-hmm. And then she came along, and I guess you could say the rest is history.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we
Well,
were married for 67 years.
Yeah, 60.
Oh my gosh. How'd y'all meet?
On a blind date, his friend
Yeah, that's
and
right.
my cousin was dating,
Mm-hmm.
and they brought his friend brought him over, and I went on the blind date.
I was a jock. I played basketball
Mm-hmm.
for Charlotte, and we were playing Erskine College, wasn't it?
I think so.
We was playing Erskine College, and their bus, they'd had a wreck. I believe it snowed or something, but it snowed a little. But anyway, their bus had wrecked, and we was playing at the Civic Center, or Rec Center we called it back then, and that was our home gym. And they couldn't get here, so they forfeited the game. And we was, me and this guy, we gonna show our girlfriend. I'd never seen her before, you know, but we were gonna strut our stuff and show them we was jocks, big basketball players, you know. But they didn't come, so we went to a movie called, it was a Disney thing called Song of the South. Uncle Remus, you know, tell those stories about Brer Rabbit and stuff. Mm-hmm. We went to that movie. 67 years.
67 years later.
Yeah, yeah, we've been married so that was actually 68 years ago, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Well, Mr. Slaton, I really appreciate your service. I thank you for this interview.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Well, I guess there wasn't much to it.